Welcome to episode 2 of the second series of Kokoon. And on this episode, we're so lucky to have Jackie Durnin, who is the founder of the soon-to-be opened Hinterland Health Retreat. So welcome, Jackie. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So please, can you tell me more about Hinterland Health Retreat? Where is it? What does it do? Like I know it's going to open maybe later this year. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's opening the end of November and it's located here on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. Hinterland Health Retreat is something that I've been wanting to create for a really long time. Having been an EFT, emotional freedom technique practitioner and counselor for many years, as well as working at health retreats and doing health retreats myself, I just felt that there was something missing. There was a better way of doing it. So I wanted to open a facility that people could come to for 14 and 28 days with mental health and addiction issues. And as well as focusing on the mind and their beliefs and patterns of behavior, I think it's really important to address the body and the spirit as part of the healing process. And in that journey of what I wanted to create, I felt it was really important that we include technology because we live in such a technological age. We're using technology in lots of aspects of our lives. So surely we should be using technology to help with mental health and hopefully even help fast track or support clients in that journey to healing. So I was very lucky to go over to the US at the beginning of the year. I had researched lots of different tech that I wanted potentially to be involved in the retreat, and I got to try it all and then decide what kind of technology we should have at the retreat. So it's the first kind of facility in the world that has, like I suppose, mind, body, spirit combined with, I'm calling neurotechnology, to support people with mental health and addiction issues, as well as anyone who wants to do a health reset. So if you have health issues, or maybe you're just a biohacker out there, somebody who's very invested in their health and they just want to go and spend 14 days prioritizing their health and well-being, you can also come for a stay and we can help you doing lots of blood work, gene testing, having healthy, organic, whole food to support you, doing IV drips on site, and then having access to all our amazing practitioners who will nurture your mind, body, and spirit on the journey.
Wow, that sounds amazing. It really does. And I have to say, I actually met you, Jackie, when I was actually one of your clients, and I had some of that treatment, and it was just mind blowing. I felt the change immediately, and didn't know what to expect, and it was it's amazing. What I know this podcast isn't about this, but what I found really interesting was the fact that personally, I had kept some belief or something from when I was a child, and didn't even know it was there. And through your therapy, it just shifted and came out. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the profound thing that I found about EFT. So I've, having personally tried lots of therapies over the years in an effort to try and fix myself or feel better, I stumbled upon EFT. A friend had told me about it. And I went for a weekend workshop and I felt significantly lighter. And as you experienced, I think when clients come to me, what they may be coming to me for usually stems back to childhood or when they're younger. And it's like we repeat these patterns of emotion. We bring up these patterns of emotion throughout our life until we resolve it. So we might have just different situations over the years that present the same emotional response that we probably had as a child to something. So it could be helpless, hopeless, out of control, for example. And we'll keep attracting. It's like we send an energetic wave out to the universe, and then it'll bring us back experiences for us. And it'll bring up this to try and help us heal the past. But what normally happens is we don't realize that that's what's happening. And we might end up sending another wave out and something else will happen. So through the course of EFT, I think lots of clients experience. And what I like about EFT is it's so easy. You know, you can tap on yourself. And a 2-hour session is very profound. So it's something that will definitely be featured at the retreat because of my own personal experience and also what I've witnessed with clients over the years. Just deep shifts very quickly. And like you say, I think people can go in with not really knowing what to expect and go out feeling significantly different.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And so how did you start in this on this journey of wellness? Because from our discussions as well, you have also a background as a very successful digital marketer. And so how did this all come about?
So well, how the retreat and came about was more, I suppose, getting into wellness was I was on my own journey to try and heal. So I was sexually abused as a child, and I was finding as I got older and got into relationships, or even sometimes in the workplace, I would be triggered by males. And I just knew I needed therapy. So I was going to different therapists. And I found when I went to talk therapy, while some of it was good, I found it just made the story louder in my head.
Mm,
So it wasn't until I found EFT that actually shifted the story or changed it or changed the way I held it in my mind. And I started feeling significantly different. And from that, I went and tried, like you name the therapy, hypnotherapy, kinesiology. I just went on like a roller coaster adventure of therapists on how can I heal me. And through that, I also then had an EFT journey of trying to get pregnant, which went on for a really long time. So to support my mental health, again, I was seeking out different practitioners who could support me, whether it was an acupuncturist, a naturopath, and then also mental health practitioners, whether it be a psychotherapist or a hypnotherapist or an EFT practitioner. And I think through all of that experience, I then was like, this is something that I really want to do. I really want to help people. Digital marketing was something I've been doing since, for the last 20 years. And I'm really good at digital marketing, but it's not something that if you're in an EFT session or you're running a retreat, you get to see the light go back on in people's eyes. That's
yeah.
like, I feel like the clouds lift when people start processing their stuff. And that's such a beautiful experience to be able to facilitate that and to be able to help people tap into their own inner power. So I knew that at some stage I would be coming back to wellness, and I kind of was waiting for my son to start school and waiting for the opportunity for me to return to work. And I did do some digital marketing, and then this opportunity came up a year ago of let's open a health retreat. So here we are now, and the end of 2024 we'll be seeing the retreat open, which is very exciting.
It is exciting. And so as you said, you're a mum and you are opening a retreat, and you also said you just moved house, and so you've got lots of things going on and you're juggling multiple things. How do you actually maintain your own energy levels to be able to do all of this? And pretty soon you'll be running a retreat, and so it's a big job. So what do you do to make sure that you can maintain your energy to do this?
I think one of the most important things is making sure that I get to bed at a reasonable hour and I don't get sucked into social media or TV series and, binge watch till midnight. Like, I just know that I function much better if I get to bed at a reasonable hour. So that's always something that I try and prioritize. I try and focus on food because I know that when I take a lot of alcohol, sugar, processed food, it doesn't do well in my system. So trying to eat healthy. I was very lucky, I think, in my experience in the US. I got to try lots of different technologies and try lots of different things. And I think, there's some supplementation that I know supports my body and keeps me with adequate amounts of vitamin B and vitamin D and keeps me going. And just making sure that I do prioritize moving as well, because moving your body is so important. And even if you're tired, just trying to even just go for a walk, you'll feel more energized after that. So it's just the little things. I think also when you're a mum, or or you have someone else who's relying on you, time can be very hard. You feel like you don't really have much time. So even just the little things, it could be just making yourself a cup of tea and taking 5 minutes for yourself. um, and yeah, so I think it's all those little things just add up. And
Yeah.
now, having moved house, very excited. We have an infrared sauna, so I
Oh,
think
wow.
the first things I'll be doing in this move will be turning on that sauna again, because again, I know how great that makes me feel.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I'm very jealous. And so I wanted to ask you, because you were talking about technology, and so the theme of this new series of Cocoon is about AI, because I mean, AI has been around for a long time, as we know, but since ChatGPT dropped at the end of 2022, it's been much more of a mainstream conversation than it ever has. And that conversation has also entered the wellness field. So do you think that AI has a place? Like, how do you feel about this rapid evolution of AI technology, and how do you think it fits within the wellness industry?
I think it totally fits. I think we're seeing, from a wellness perspective, we're probably seeing it more in kind of the fitness biohacking arena. So when I was in the US, I went to an expo, and there was lots of different technologies incorporating AI. So you saw, your exercise bikes incorporating AI. So the whole idea being work smarter, not harder. So instead of having to do, an hour on the bike, you can do 10 minutes, or I think it was 5 minutes, even 3 times a week. And the it's the equivalent of you on a normal bike doing, 3 hours a week. So I think, because people are so time poor, if we can use AI to maximize the result we're going to get, whether it's for our physical fitness. And so, as I said, I think we're seeing it in that fitness space. I saw like lots of gym equipment where, you did, I think it was 5 or 10 minutes on these weight machines. And you would do that 2 or 3 times a week. And that's all you needed to do, instead of being there in the gym for an hour.
Wow.
But it's loading your muscles up as you, like, let's say, push in, but also as you push out. So you're getting the maximum amount. And I just think it's genius. Like, I think it's such a great idea for all people, because again, like I said, everyone is time poor. If we can make the most of, get in and get what we need, and then it's done, more people will probably take up, movement of some sort, and hopefully we'd have a healthier, fitter society. But what I'm excited about is the move of AI into mental health, because we're not really seeing that yet. We're seeing technological advances, but not the incorporation of AI necessarily yet. I think it's very early days. I think the fitness industry, you're seeing it a lot more, but I'm excited about that move. And I'm just watching this space to see what will happen. The technology that I have, that I'm bringing over from the US, it's not available outside of the US at the moment. And it's really cutting edge. And I think it's only a matter of time before AI is incorporated into it, or variations of those types of products.
Yeah. And are you using AI in any other ways in your own sort of business, even in like your operations or your marketing or any of your
Well,
processes?
I did probably about 3 weeks ago for the first time. So I was putting in an application for a competition to win like a grant for your business, and they wanted you to do a video of your business. But I had a number of issues. One was, my product is not finished, as in the property is currently under construction and renovation. So I was like, I can't film at the property because that's going to look not good. Um, I didn't have the technology to talk about what we're doing. And the title of the video was Trailblazing with Technology. So I was like, how am I going to do this? And I thought, oh, why don't I try using AI to make a video about what my product is and how I'm trailblazing with technology. And it was the first time I'd used video AI. I've used like ChatGPT, but I haven't used video. So over the course of like 48 hours, I did a like crash course in how to do it, tried a couple of different softwares, and then produced my 90-second video, which I was really impressed with actually, and really excited about, because it portrayed, you know, who we are and what we're trying to do. When I didn't have, like I said, I didn't have access to pictures of my technology, or I couldn't use the pictures of the land because, you know, there's renovations going on. So it was fantastic. It was a lifesaver, and I can see how I would use that again for marketing in the future, definitely.
Yeah. And if you don't mind saying, what tool did you end up with to create that?
What tool? Actually, I'm trying to remember what it's called. I tried two. There was two that I tried actually.
Yeah.
And one, the one that I ended up going with, I'll tell you the name of it now, because I just saw that it came through with your subscription has just been updated. It's probably not going to appear now, of course. Of course, it escapes my mind. Let me check this out. I can't find it. In video.
Oh, in video, yes.
In video. Yeah. Yes.
Excellent.
The only thing within video was, this was quite hilarious. I couldn't, you can't put, I was trying to put my voice against my video, but what you could do is clone my voice. But I found, as I went on Google and looked on forums, in video AI, and I think video AI struggles with Irish accents. So what it actually produces, this very distorted American, Irish, weird, it's quite hilarious though. So I tried that, and I ended up having to export it and then create, put my voice over the top of it. But it was so good, and I think my business partners were really impressed with the final result, considering I have no video editing experience. It was something that, like I said, I could definitely see me using again in a marketing purpose.
And so was the vision sort of stock video that, and then you talked over the top of it, or did it like actually generate video?
So I had images of the technology, and I had images of the property without like getting a pool put in. So I had images of the property, but there's no pool. But I was like, okay, well, that's better than I can't go to the property right now because they're digging a hole. So, and then I had some little video footages from YouTube of the technology in action. So it's a combination of stills, video, and then they did an even better job at my script than I did. So, you know, when I uploaded my script of what I wanted to say, and then I saw it, I was like, that's a much better way of saying what I wanted to say. So like I said, the experience was really good for someone who had never used video AI before. I was able to pick it up and create a video within 48 hours.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's funny because right at this moment, like literally just before I jumped on this, I'm actually writing the audio and video chapter of my AI book, AI for Strategic Communication. So it's so interesting that you're actually saying this now, because now I'm sort of interviewing you for my book while we're doing this podcast. Okay. There's nothing to do with it. So no, that's good. And it's funny, I actually put in video down as an example of a tool that you could use. So excellent.
It's really good. Really, I'd highly recommend it, because I just thought it was just very intuitive, very easy to use. I think the most complicated part for me, and it wasn't even that complicated, was just exporting it without what do you call it when it's got like a logo on it, but you don't want the logo. So I was trying to
Or
work out how
the watermark.
the
Yeah,
watermark, yeah.
yeah.
But again, like it probably took me 15 minutes and then I worked that out. But that was probably the most complicated part of the whole process. I could see how that can just really fast track me producing content once we're up and running, stuff that I can share on social media. And it just makes things a little bit more interesting. Rather, I just love the way that AI can take my script and convert it into something, well, I felt much better, more relatable. And even just the images they come up with, sometimes they're funny because they didn't quite hit the mark. So when I was talking about rehabilitation, they would have a picture of someone in the hospital with broken arm. And I'm like, not quite. But, probably 7 out of 10 of the images are like not bad, but you can then go through them all and update them and improve on them. So, great tool.
No, that's great. Yeah, that's a great example of how to use it. And that's one of the key findings coming out of my research is that just it's made things so accessible. So people who were not who were creative in their minds and had great imaginations but just couldn't get it out of their hands now can do so with AI. It's just really opened things up and made creativity much more accessible to everyone, which is really exciting. Yeah, so I wanted to ask, have you heard of any other fellow practitioners using AI for any of their sort of treatments or in their businesses?
Not in the wellness space. Again, I think it would be more in the fitness industry. I've been hearing a bit, but in the wellness space, I think it's still an untapped market. I think it's something that I will see. I think we're going to just see it evolve where AI will be used in lots of different ways. I'm sure, actually, there is probably one place where people are using ChatGPT, whether it's to write content for their website or they have to write an article or they need to do some SEO for their website and they need some content. So yes, there would be practitioners I know who are using AI from that point of view, but within their practice, not at this stage. But I think that's something that we will see moving forward. But I don't see in the mental health space at the moment people using a lot of technology, let alone AI technology. So I think that is a space that's going to grow, evolve, and get very, very exciting. Well, it is already exciting, but I think it's just going to get more and more exciting.
Yeah. And so before you mentioned about maintaining your energy levels, and one thing you hinted at was managing your social media in terms of managing not being sucked into social media, which is always, it's so easy to happen. So how do you actually navigate social media while maintaining your own wellness, particularly now when you're about to open and you're starting to try to build an audience and things like that around your retreat? How do you manage that so you don't and not connected all the time?
Well, if you go on my social media, you will see that I'm not currently live yet. I literally have pages live, but I don't have content. That's something that's coming in October. The other thing I'm doing is I'm going to actually outsource. I'm going to have someone else manage that just because I just don't have the time. But it's going to be in-house, but not me on the tools and managing it myself to try and, not like you say, not get sucked in. Because like you say, you can just go down a rabbit hole and many hours that pass. So I think I just have to be very mindful of time and what I'm spending my time on and making sure we're spending time on the right things. And I think social media is very important. It's just really important that we put time constraints on how long you're going to be spending, because and that's the thing, picking what channels, because there's so many channels. And if you're doing YouTube or TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, if you start doing all of them, I think we just have to be selective and pick a few and start. Otherwise you get overwhelmed and you may never start.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's coming like someone from a digital marketing background as well. So you're all over it. And
Yeah.
like we talked before about the huge shift that your treatment had on me, but are there any other sort of inspirational breakthroughs or transformations you could talk about, like, while maintaining confidentiality, of
Yeah.
course, that you can share that you've had with a client?
Yeah, I've had lots over the years. Just I've been so lucky to meet so many incredible people. I had a lady that I met who was in her probably early to mid 80s. She came to me depressed and suicidal, had been on antidepressants, didn't know why she was depressed, just felt, you know, had a beautiful husband, has kids, grandkids. Like, why would I be depressed? But she was, and she felt suicidal and had attempted suicide. And she came to me, and through the course of one session, we only had one session, so 2 hours, we found the core of why she was depressed and the associated emotion relating to that memory, and released all of that. And she went from feeling probably 20 out of 10 depressed to 0, and she couldn't find it anymore. And she went back to her doctor, and her doctor was like, "What did you do? Because I have never seen you in all the time that I've been tending to you in the last," I think she'd had depression for over 5 years. And she explained that she had this Irish lady do like tapping on her face. And she wrote me a beautiful testimonial and was telling everyone at her local, all of her social groups, that, you know, you needed to go see this woman who can do tapping on your face. But it just was so life changing for her, because she really just wanted to opt out, but she didn't understand why, and felt really confused, frustrated, and upset that she was in this situation but didn't know how to get out. I've had people over the years with physical pain, and physical pain is just emotion trapped in the body. So they might have pain in their shoulder or their knee or their leg, and by the end of the session, we've either totally got rid of it or it's dramatically reduced. And like I said, with EFT, you can teach people how to do it on themselves. I'm all about empowering the individual. I don't want them to have to rely on me. So writing them a tailored script, being able to tap on yourself. So if you do get triggered and you feel pain or you feel sad, you can tap that back down to 0 and be in control of your emotional state. So yeah, it's been, and I think when I went to Hawaii a number of years ago, I went to a rehabilitation there to volunteer with the clients there, and our goal was to help remove their addictive feeling. And all of these, 85% of the people there were transferred from the prison system for drug-related offences. And a lot of them would be, you know, very broad, shaved head, lots of tattoos. They'd be, you know, that almost intimidating type of figure that you see on TV. But in those sessions, what you were met with was a little boy or a little girl who had a trauma, and they just didn't recall it, or some of them didn't recall that they had the trauma, and some of them were very aware of what the trauma was, and that is why they chose a path of drugs, because they were trying to numb this pain unconsciously or consciously. So, and in some of the cases, it could be something like they lost their teddy bear. But as an adult, we oversimplify that and go, nothing traumatic happened to me. But as a child, if that's your best friend or your only family, you know, and then you've lost it, like, that's a major trauma for a young child. So I just saw so many huge shifts when we were there, of people physically, because we would have drug kits with us, fake drug kits. And, you know, if I produced a heroin needle and a spoon for someone who was a heroin addict, they would be physically sweating, heart palpitations. They had 10 out of 10 excitement, wanting the heroin. And after a 2-hour session, they couldn't find those feelings anymore, and they could hold the spoon or the needle, and it was like holding cutlery, or, you know, it was, or a pen. It didn't have any emotional attachment to it anymore. It was just an object. And I remember this guy coming to the rehab. He had just, it was day 1, and he was seriously detoxing from heroin, and he was pale, pasty, sweating. He was in such a bad way. He was on the toilet a lot. And he went in and did a 2-hour session and came out, and lots of his physical detox symptoms had disappeared. And he just looked so much lighter. So just very profound how something so simple can just dramatically shift how someone can feel.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. And without diminishing that, because that's just amazing sort of stories and of transformation. I wanted to talk now about goals. And so there are different camps. From doing this podcast, I've realized there's different camps. There's people who are real, fixed goal setters and strive all year. And then there's others who like to go with the flow. It's like a spectrum, and they just like see how it all unfolds from the universe for them. So are you a goal setter? And if you are you on track for this year? And have you started thinking about goals for next year?
I think my goal for this year was to open the health retreat. So
Yeah,
I'm on track for that. Getting into specific goals is coming. I think once the plan, we're going to have very specific goals on how many people we want to help, etc. But yes, my big goal for 2024 was to open a health retreat. That's main goal is to help as many people as we possibly can, get them reconnected with themselves, get them back in touch with their own inner power that can help heal themselves. And that is all in motion at the moment. I feel like it's a snowball going downhill, and it's all coming to fruition. And we're down to the last number of weeks now, and the doors will be opening soon.
That's so exciting.
It's very exciting.
And I think on that, oh no, I have one more question for you actually. So with that coming, and you're at this point in your career now, what do you wish you knew at the beginning of your career? So if you could go back in time and tell yourself any piece of advice, what would it be?
I feel like you're always where you're meant to be. Like, you can never make a wrong move because you're exactly where you're meant to be. And, maybe there's a job that you were in that you think this wasn't right, but you learn something from that will help you later on. You don't have to be, I've been many things over the years, done digital marketing, done events, wrote a book on baby sign language. There's been a lot of, I think what I would have told myself back then is probably have more confidence stepping out, because when I was in my 20s, I think when I wrote my book and then I felt like I literally hid in a closet. I didn't, but it was that, oh my God, I'm not the mother or the nurse or the childcare worker. And I had that story of who I'm not, but I had to then remind myself who I am. So I think it'd be remind yourself of, you are the person who had the time to sit down and write a book. You are the person, and that you're pretty awesome, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, that's great advice to end on. I love that. So thank you so much for being our second guest in this series, and I wish you all the best with the opening of the retreat. I'm going to come and check it out. So I'm just
you have to come visit. I'll show you.
Definitely. Yeah, that's amazing. So thank you so much, and thanks to everyone for watching. And we'll see you next month for episode 3 in series 2 of Kokoon. So thank you so much.